Angel, and today I'm gonna tell you about the 18 things that are better in Japan. I just came back from a 2-week vacation in Tokyo, and that was my 5th trip to Japan, and Tokyo is my favorite place in the whole world. And I really love their culture, and there's so many things that I think are better than anywhere else in the world, and mostly, at least from Switzerland where I lived, but I've traveled so many places in the world, and yeah, Japan do a lot of things really better. And I'm also doing another videos about the things that are weird in Japan. So weird for me, I don't say it's stupid or anything, but weird for me. So once that video is done, I will link it here so you can click to watch that other video. But right now, this is my top 18 things that Japan does better. Number 1, when you arrive at a restaurant, most of the time you don't even have to ask anything, and then bring you glasses of water with ice, and most of the time you don't even have to order any other drinks because you have free water and you don't even have to ask for it. And at some other restaurants, for example the sushi restaurant, you have a tap with hot water and everything to make tea from your own seat, and this is free too. This is really cool. Of course, you can always ask more. Sometimes they bring you a whole pot of water with ice and everything, so really cool. Second, and something that I really love, and it's not just in Japan but in whole Asia, they use their umbrella as parasol. So in Europe and I think in the US, your umbrella is for rain, but when the sun is really strong, instead of putting sunscreen and everything, you could just hide yourself under your umbrella. And they do have special ones that are UV resistant with black inside, but your own regular umbrella is fantastic. And at first I was like, what are they doing using the umbrella when it's sunny and everything? And then I realized they are so geniuses. And sometimes in Switzerland and in France, the sun was just burning me, and I just opened my umbrella and used this as a parasol. And yeah, people look at you weirdly, but then you're not burned, and with a skin light like me, that's a life changer. Second thing that I love in Japan is that they use kawaii things and characters, and they characterize regular stuff, and they use that for everything. So you have a commercial for trains, for the station or whatever, they will have a super kawaii train with eyes and smile and everything. And in Switzerland and most of the rest of the world, trains are serious and stuff like that, and you only use that kind of imagery for kids. But not in Japan. You can use super cute things to sell anything, or to advertise, or for pamphlet information, anything. And I really love that. That is so cool. Everywhere in the streets and in front of the crossing and on the stations, they have lines for blind people. They have small dots and small lines, and everything is covered in yellow, so it's very bright for the people who can still see. And so when you walk on it, even with your shoes, you recognize that it's a different pattern, and so that helps blind people knowing where they are and not falling in the tracks or something on the road. That's super genius. They have vending machines of drinks everywhere. So my favorite is milk tea. It's like a soda with it's like iced tea but with milk, and I love that, and I can have them everywhere. You just walk, and you will not walk, at least in the main cities, for more than 5 minutes without finding a vending machine, or sometimes they have like 5 next to each other, and you can buy water and everything, and it's so cheap, like about $1 to $1.5, and it's super cheap, and you can find a wide variety of drinks. And in the winter they also have some drinks that are cold and some that are hot in the vending machines. That's super cool. And something that I've only seen in Japan is that when it's raining, your umbrella is super wet. In some places here, you have a place where you can put your umbrella in the shop or in the restaurant, but then you have to not forget to pick it up. Somebody can take yours by mistake or steal yours or something, and if you don't have something like that, you're just carrying your umbrella and you're dripping water everywhere in the store, and people don't want that because then it's slippery and it's a mess. So what they do in Japan, they have a kind of machine of dispenser of plastic bags for umbrellas. So that works best with the big one, long ones. You can just enter your umbrella inside of it and you go out, and then it's covered in plastic, and so you can just carry it around and it will hold the water and not drip everywhere. And so I'm always with the small foldable ones, and you do have some machine for that, or you can use a big one, but that's way too long. But really it's kind of cool, and so we take one at the start of the trip, and then you can just carry it around and put your umbrella back in that bag, or any plastic bags actually, and put it in your bag so it won't drip water everywhere. I think this is really clever. Most of the time in Japan you will have either menus with pictures or the fake plate in display in front of the shop. So we do find that in Asian restaurants around here, but it's really rare. In Japan, half of the restaurant would have either pictures of every single dish they have, or the whole dish in plastic in front of their store, and I think it's very clever. Right now I would say that 99% of the restaurant we've been in has either one English menu or has English under each item in the menu, so that helps a lot. But if they don't, you can just go around and you can pick at something and say "kore kudasai," and they will know that you want this, and that's it. Or on the menu, "kore kudasai," and yeah, you don't even have to understand the Japanese. Japanese people know how to wait in line so well, so sometimes they just write where you do your queue, and sometimes they even have markings on the ground for the first train queue and the second train queue. So in big station where it's very crowded, people can already start lining up for the next train, and the first one is not even here yet, but the next two trains can be lined up already super neatly on the platform. I think that's really cool. Next point is those face towels. I have many already because I've been many times in Japan, and this one is from Angelic Pretty, and most people will carry one with them, and so they will fold it like that and have them in their pockets or bag. There's a lot of occasions where actually there is no paper towels or no hand dryer in the bathrooms, so you can use your own face towel to actually dry your hands, or you can remove the sweat from your face with it. And so yeah, they have so many different kinds with a lot of cute designs or really basic ones for people who don't want to appear cute, and for men. So yeah, this is genius, and now that I've been using mine in Japan in my various travels, in summer I always carry one with me so I can remove the sweat from my body, or just sometimes I find a fountain, and when I've been outside all day I just want to refresh myself and then dry me, and that's so cool. Another thing super cool that I've only seen in Japan is that in some bathrooms, toilets, you have actually a changing room, like the thing to change your baby in the men's bathroom. And in Switzerland, basically, it's only for women. Only women can take care of their kids. No men should take care of their baby. I don't know, maybe there's so few male that would have to change their babies that they don't accommodate that. But, and I've not seen it everywhere, but at some places I've seen it and I said, good job, this is really cool. And most of the train stations and metro stations in Tokyo have free toilets, In Switzerland, not a lot have them, and sometimes you have to pay, and there's also showers and stuff like that, but in every station in Japan you have free toilets, which is really cool. And speaking of toilets, I've seen the toilet where I was staying. When you flush the toilet, there is a sink on top of the receptacle for the water that will flush the toilet, and you can actually wash your hand from the same water that is going to fill the tank to flush the toilet next time. At first I was like, but the sink is filling it up and using so much water. Then I realized that it's actually filling the tank to flush the toilet, and that you can use this water to wash your hands without having to waste more water to wash your hands at a different sink. That is very clever, but I've not seen that a lot, but I think it's really cool. And of course you cannot speak of toilets in Japan without speaking of those super crazy toilets they have. So basically they call it Western toilets because it's a toilet seat, but most of the time, like 99% of the time, they will have at least 2 or 3 functions on it. You can have sprays to wash your things. For the female, there is 2 different flow of water, and I don't know for men if they have just one, then probably. Anyways, and you have sometimes a button to have a fountain sound, like a cascade waterfall sound, to cover your weird sounds that you may do in the toilet. But that's weird because myself, I'm more embarrassed of that very loud fake sound, badly recorded, than regular sound that you could hear in a bathroom. Anyways, at least those 3 buttons, and then sometimes they have 2 different ones for the flush, and sometimes you can even have the seat heated. So sometimes you have a whole palette this big on the wall with different things that you can do while sitting on the toilet. And what is weird is that for us that's the Japanese toilet because they're so fancy. But if you have 2 different kinds of toilet, they will call this one Western toilet, and they have another one that they call Japanese toilet, is what we called in Switzerland and I think in Europe Turkish toilet, which is just a hole in the floor. And myself, I really not able to use that kind of toilet without making a mess, and really it's ugly, so yeah. But I've seen people, girls, having short skirts and heels that high, and really super fancy girls and everything, picking the Japanese toilet before the Western toilet because people say you can get less germs by not sitting on a toilet seat, which I can understand, but myself, I cannot use the other one because I'm so clumsy, so yeah, you have to pick, but people usually in Japan will pick the other ones. Something that really amazes me when I go to the metro, especially if you've been in cities like Paris or something, where you have a metro door close to at least 2 meters high to prevent people from jumping above and not paying and everything. And in Japan, the door is open. There's like a portal that has very small, like this thick doors, small doors that can close if they see that you maybe enter without very well passing your Passmo card or your ticket, it will close in front of you. But if you run, I'm pretty sure you can just run through it and do not pay at all, which no one would ever do in Japan because they're so respectful of everything. So that's why they do not put super high doors or everything. But first time you go in there, it's like, do I really have to pay? Because really it's open. So that's really funny. And one time my Passmo didn't work and it does close in front of you, but that's really security. They really trust people in Japan, not like in Paris. And something that I've seen actually very cool in Japan is that let's say that you have several people on the train sitting, and there's one seat here and another seat here and a lot of people around that already sat, and then you arrive with a group of 2 or 3 person, for example, and so you kind of who wants to sit, or you can go ahead and sit, and so the first person sits and the person next to it say, oh, I can actually change and go to that empty seat over here so that those new people that came can sit together. And that is so nice, and I had never ever seen that anywhere else. For example, in Switzerland, it's very often that we travel by, let's say, 4 people, and we have kind of booth of 4 seats. In Switzerland you have 4 and then 4, and there's 1 person here and 1 person here, and we arrive with a group of 4 people, and we have to do 3 here and 1 here, or 2 and 2, and the other 2 person won't even budge or say, oh, maybe I could go the other way to let them be 4 together. No, 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 they won't do that. Sometimes I got the opportunity in Switzerland to do that because it made sense, and so people were so grateful. But in Japan, in 2 weeks it happens like maybe 5 times or something, that people change seats to let us sit together, even though it wasn't a big deal to sit separately. And for that, that is really, really cool. Thank you, Tokyo, for doing that. And something that I've seen in many countries, but really not in Switzerland, is that there is a really set side where you stand in the escalator if you want to stand, and so you leave a passage for the people who want to walk. And that's funny because I think in Tokyo it's different than in Osaka. In Kyoto it's a different side, so in one trip we kept being the wrong side because we went to 2 different cities and it was different. But I think that's really clever, but a lot of other cities do that. Just in Switzerland we have not gone to do that yet. So people would stand 2 next to each other and don't let people through, and yeah, we should totally start doing that. And also Tokyo is so busy that even on the stairs, you have big stairs to go up the platform. For example, in the station you have arrows telling you that this side of the stairs, like stairs that you walk, this side is for going up and this side is for going down. So when there's not too many people, it doesn't matter too much, but when it's rush hour and so many people, you can go so much more easier if you can go through the correct way. And so that I don't think I've seen anywhere else in the world, and that's very clever. But they have so many people so that they have to have something like that. So I probably forgot a lot of things that are way cooler in Japan, and maybe you have tons of other ideas, so let me know what I forgot and that is way cool in Japan. And if you thought that some of the things I said are weird and not so cool, just let me know too. I would really like to start a conversation about that. And if you do like Japan and want to know more about my trip to Japan, so consider subscribing, because I'm doing more videos about this trip and everything that I liked in Japan, everything that is weird, everything that I bought, and tons of travel videos. So go watch my other videos and consider liking that video if you liked it. So see you soon. Bye bye.